Welcome to the DigitalituM Podcast, where we delve into the intersection of manufacturing and digital transformation. I'm Marcus Rummel, your host. Manufacturing, a cornerstone of our global economy, faces various challenges, from optimizing production processes to ensuring quality control to maintaining a skilled workforce to stay competitive. In parallel, the digital transformation journey presents its own set of hurdles. Integrating new technologies, managing data, and fostering a culture of continuous improvement are just a few of the obstacles companies encounter in this area. This podcast discusses the problems and, more importantly, the solutions, making a real difference on the shop floor and out in the field. We'll dive into cutting-edge digital tools using technologies like AR, VR, IoT, and AI that are being leveraged to address specific use cases. Whether enhancing your training programs, improving your machine maintenance, or optimizing production workflows, these technologies pave the way for a smarter and more efficient manufacturing operations. In the DigitalituM Podcast, we introduce you to some of the industry-leading voices and peers of mine who are at the forefront of the digital revolution. They'll share their insights, experiences, and the transformative impact of digital tools in their respective field. So please sit back, relax, and join us as we explore the intersection of manufacturing and digital transformation. Welcome to the DigitalituM Podcast. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the DigitalituM. My guest today is Martin Plutz, Managing Director and Founder with OCULAVIS from Germany. Welcome.
Thank you, Marcus. Nice to be here.
And let's dive right into it. Tell us a little bit about your background and how did you become a founder and managing director of OCULAVIS? What's your journey?
Yeah, that's already some years of my journey now. So we personally studied mechanical engineering and business administration here in Aachen, which is located at the border of Netherlands and Belgium. If you want to take a look at the maps, and it's a hotspot for mechanical engineering and engineering sciences in general. So I went there when I was young. And after my studies, I moved to a research organization, which is called Fraunhofer, which is quite well known in Europe. Practice-oriented research for doing a PhD actually, but never finished that because during that time I started my spin-off company from that research organization and from university. That's how we got started basically. This is already eight years ago now, and we're three co-founders and. We're still three co-founders until today, so we didn't change anything there. We are also a bootstrap company. That means we do not have any investors, which is quite a special story maybe, because in the past 8 years, of course, there have been lots of companies who have raised lots of money. And we did that on a solid base and got customers quite early and earned our own money. And we're still here. And today we're a company of about 70 employees. And that's what we do, or that's where we come from, basically.
Very good. And what actually inspired you to focus on visual support visual support software for the manufacturing industry? What was your kind of problem you saw to solve? How did that all come together?
So in the research institute, it was not theoretical research where you're sitting in an office and do theory work. It was a practice-oriented research institute with hundreds of employees and lots of machines on the shop floor that we also had for doing that research, practice-oriented. And we observed that there's a big problem when it comes to troubleshooting machines or servicing machines in general. So that when there is unscheduled downtimes, there's a lot of chaotic situations that you can observe when people try to get in contact with the manufacturer of a machine to troubleshoot this somehow. And we saw that then our former colleagues were doing it with WhatsApp or emails and not really following a process. And we saw that there's a lot of value in these situations. And that was the one side of the story. And the other side of the story is at that time, 2012, 2013, we also saw that technology trend of augmented reality Reality coming up with Google glasses and Microsoft HoloLenses. And of course, this was quite a good fit on the first side, at least for this kind of problem we were seeing. And that's how we started this journey and got our first pilot customers in the industry, which was Bosch in Hungary at that time. So we implemented our first prototype software there, and then we saw, okay, this is a good business opportunity, and that's why we launched the company then. But this has changed over time, this technology focus. These glasses do not play a big role anymore nowadays. First of all, the maturity of those hardware suppliers is the one question, and also the acceptance of those user-centric or human-centric technologies. I mean, in the end, you are wearing a piece of hardware on your nose, and this can be quite challenging for some people. And in reality, we see, okay, a lot of customers try this out in a pilot project, but then most of the cases they turn to using just smartphones or tablets for our software. So in the end, of course, we're a software provider, and we're having a device agnostic software. And like I just said, these glasses do not play a big role anymore, to be honest.
Yeah, I see actually the same. As on one side, the smartphone is nowadays in 99.999% of the pocket of most of everybody in the earth. Doesn't really matter in what geography you are. And therefore, that's the tool, the hardware to use. Going back to your story about the problems, I was a field service engineer myself back in the days when there was no modern technology. And when you, for example, in a foreign country, have to dial an international number to reach your colleagues for asking advice, everything's through audio, no picture sharing possible. That was quite a challenge back then. And now with technology, things can then be easier and better and faster.
Maybe one comment there. Yeah, that's totally true. And I mean, our software is not only about visual support. Maybe to add to your question, we try to transform the whole service process that is happening around the machine. So not only in troubleshooting situations, but also in commissioning scenarios when a machine is being delivered and being set up by technicians. That is already a good use case. And it's not only this visual support, also a ticketing system that is included in the system, an asset management where you're able to connect QR codes, for example, to your complete installed base of equipment and make digital services available through just a simple QR code scan with no need to install an app, at least in the first step, and to make those processes as smooth as possible for the end users and the operators.
Yeah, there we actually dive right into it and explaining the different features and functionalities of the OCULAVIS. Let's just call it a tool. Who is a specific user of your tool? Can you describe the target audience?
Of course. Yeah. So we have two typical types of customers. On the one hand side, it's the OEM of a machine, so a machine manufacturer or a product manufacturer in general. So it's not only manufacturing equipment that is using our tool, but also medical equipment. We have customers in that space as well. Also for off-highway machines like construction equipment and stuff like that. So anything that is complex enough to be in need for a service sometimes. That is one major use case. And on the other side, we also have the equipment operators as a customer. So typically manufacturing companies who have internal maintenance teams who use our system for scheduled maintenance, but also for troubleshooting and other scenarios. So those are the two major customer groups. And inside these customer groups, there are also different personas. On the one hand side, for the machine manufacturer that are using our tool in customer service, it's either the end user of the equipment that is using the tool for ticketing or for remote troubleshooting and stuff like that. But it can also be the own technician of a machine manufacturer that is using the tool. So think of a young technician that is being trained on the job, that is not so qualified when he starts his job at a machine manufacturer, and he's being sent out to do a field service trip, and then this person can also be supported or guided or being that is the other persona. Yeah, right. So this is an overview.
Very good. I like that. And going now into the different applications or features of OCULAVIS, you mentioned it all started with the visual support, which is like a video call, typically with augmented reality. And then over time, you guys added a lot of extra features to it to make a more complementary tool to that. Can you explain a little further in what are all these other features and what problems do they actually solve? And what's then the added benefit of going with a tool like you have versus like a lot of people say, I just use FaceTime or WhatsApp or do a Teams call to do the same thing.
Yeah, so many questions in your questions at the same time.
But let's break it up again. Let's explain the different features first, and then at the end we can do the differentiation between let's say the common tools on the market and OCULAVIS.
Yeah, let's start with that question because that's the most common question we also get from potential customers as well, of course. So as you summarize, it's a video support functionality first of all with augmented reality overlays, so being able to draw inside that video call and freezing the video, having high resolution images without having a good internet connection. We even have a face pixelization in real time. So when it comes to data privacy requirements in specific industries, very special tools to focus on technical support and not having a face-to-face meeting where it's not so important to have the best possible quality. That is the technical answer on that question. Why don't people use WhatsApp, or why should they not use WhatsApp or FaceTime or whatever? And the other side is the broad feature set in our solution that is making it possible to use it as a management system for managing your complete installed base, for managing your work orders, field service orders, and stuff like that. So the management perspective of using it to cover a complete process and not just a tool that you just use on a spontaneous base. That is the bigger part of the answer. Also nowadays, I mean, everyone is talking about ChatGPT and generative AI. The big question here is when you want to deploy these technologies in service, which is quite attractive on the first sight. The big question is where is this knowledge being generated that you want to feed to your chatbots, etc. And the answer is that it's exactly being generated in execution systems like our system, where special situations in troubleshooting occur, and the solution is being documented in a very highly structured way inside our ticketing system, for example. And by this, you can feed a chatbot instead of using a FaceTime chat or WhatsApp chat, which is much more unstructured and is not really being documented in a way that it can be used from a service organization. That's the long answer.
Yeah, and I agree on that. As when you do a WhatsApp call or any of these things, yes, you solve that problem at the moment, but there's no recording, no documentation, what actually has been done. And one feature I like about your software is that when you do a visual support call, that at the end, it kind of generates an automatic service report with all the important things, who was on the call, from when to when, stores all the pictures, comments, and all of that. And that kind of solves another problem, what I see out in the field, because writing service reports is the number one task, what every field service person loves to do. And I'm over exaggerating here a little bit. So if you can help there in automate things and do things automatically, that's already a big help in my point of view. How do you see that? What's your experience with clients on that feature?
Yeah, sure. I totally agree. And there are also different levels on that feature. First of all, to make processes more efficient, we have one customer reporting 20% of decrease of service costs by our tool, for example. And it's a large scale service organization with 2,000 employees. So if you calculate this in total numbers that are probably millions of euros. And on the other side, it also enables our customers in creating digital business models in service. I mean, if you're offering just a everyday tool like WhatsApp as a professional service, your end customers might not be willing to pay for that kind of service. But if you really create a service with scheduled maintenance, troubleshooting, reaction times, and stuff like that, that can be also delivered in a white labeled way. That means you can also white label our complete application. So by this, we enable our customers to operate our software as if it was their software. And that makes it much more easier for them to also create digital business models in after sales.
And by this, a lot of clients in the industry come then back with the argument, but if a customer just gives us a call and he has a problem, we always answer that for free. So how should we do that in the future?
Yeah, that's the question of maybe things have always been like this. That's an answer we often hear, that people do not like to change this because the end customer is used to it. Of course, it has to do with mindset or with change management in general. If you want to keep it like this, then it's also fine, of course, if you have a competitive advantage by doing that. But of course, companies need to earn money, so it's an attractive way to generate new revenue streams by creating digital business models or business models in service in general. And that means, okay, you need to structure these processes in a professional way, and you need to tell your customer, okay, we offer different service levels. Maybe there still is a free service level agreement, but there might be also some paid premium service level agreements with faster reaction times or other support options. For example, with the support options our tool can offer and things like this. So it's a difficult question, and organizations are typically not too fast moving, so it takes time to transform these service offerings. And the other answer or another aspect here is also this mega trend of equipment as a service. So to turn the complete business model around, and as an equipment manufacturer, to not sell your products anymore, but to just rent them or operate them even for the end customer, and only being paid by uptime. And then, of course, you have a high interest in not having any downtimes, and then those digital service tools, predictive maintenance, our kind of support tools become a total different story.
Yeah, I agree. As unplanned downtime is the number one cost generator on a factory or manufacturing plant site when equipment breaks down and you're like this. And if you have a tool which can help you to do that faster and more efficient, then this brings a value, and somebody is willing to pay for that. What I see in the industry, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that on one side, overall machines, production lines, equipments, assets are getting more complicated, more complex over time, as specifically on the software part. And then on the other hand, if you look out in the field, specifically in the American market, the quantity and quality and the knowledge of service workers, either in the maintenance or on the field service side, is not going up the same way. It's actually, in my point of view, even declining, as a lot of the olders in the trade are now already retired or soon to retired. And from the younger side, there's not much or not enough coming in. And this creates this big gap, and this gap translates directly in unplanned downtime. So there has to be, on one side, the tools, but on the other side, the initiatives and the business models from both sides, the manufacturers and the OEMs, to kind of solve that problem. And I kind of see your solution there right in the middle of it.
That's totally true. I mean, this is what I hear every day, every single day. Someone's telling me about lack of skilled workers, and they have challenges finding technicians to do service the classical way of sending out technicians. And yeah, of course, if you can improve your process efficiency by not hiring just more service techs, but with improving your processes, then with the same amount of service technicians, you can reach the same goals or even deliver more value to your end customers by having faster reaction times and not having your field service technicians on the road while they are not productive. And if you can centralize this knowledge of the field service technicians, the experienced ones. Then you can have faster reaction times. You can have local technicians that you can support and train on the job, and so on. So this opens definitely a lot of opportunities.
Yeah, and it helps internally within the organization and externally from the organization out to the end customer. Can you share a couple of success stories where OCULAVIS really helped a client and brought them to the next level?
Sure, we have some success stories, of course, among our customers. One maybe from North America, which is the company Trumpf Laser Machines. It's a German manufacturer of laser machines, world market leader, technology leader in that space. And they started this initiative from their North American division 5 years ago, maybe. And at that time, they also started with these glasses, like I said in the beginning, but they also turned to using any device basically nowadays. And with them, we also developed an integration into their CRM system, for example. This is also a success factor integration. I mean, our solution can be operated as a standalone solution, but when it comes to processes, typically processes flow over different systems. And then technical integration into other IT systems becomes a major factor. And that's what we've done with them, for example. Yeah, they are quite successful with it and using it all over the world now. So they rolled it out from the US to the rest of the world and also use it as a white label solution to offer best possible support to their end customers. And what makes this special, maybe this customer, is that they are not only using it in help desk or product support operations, but also in their equipment as a service team or department. That's an initiative they have, that they already offer this equipment as a service to their end customer. There's also an interesting book, by the way, of the inventor of that business initiative inside of Trumpf. And, that they are really operating their machines for the end customers, and that means they have a continuous video connection to the machines, and if there's something happening, they need to be able to somehow guide an operator that is somewhat close to the machine, and that's where our solution comes into play, for example. That's one story. And another story maybe from the company Liebherr, that's also a German manufacturer of construction equipment with 50,000 employees. And they are using our solution for supporting their clients also all over the world with ticketing that is integrated in our tool, and they are using it to allow the end user of a machine to report a ticket, and then it's directly being routed to the right local expert. That means you can also cover service organizations inside our solution. That means this ticketing channel can be configured. That imagine this construction equipment is located in Chicago, and you might have a first level support, and that might even be a dealer of Liebherr can be included in our tool as a first level expert, and then they can receive support from the dealer, which is actually not part of Liebherr, but Liebherr operates this digital service infrastructure and offers even their dealers access to this service tool. But Liebherr has, of course, the access to the knowledge that is being generated. And that's a smart way to, first of all, overcome challenges in lack of skilled workers, what we've already heard, but also to provide a digital service infrastructure and systematically get access to the knowledge, which is, of course, very, very important. Yeah, they're also very successful with it.
And use that in a later time as a base to use artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, to do then even more. As with all this AI things, you need the data as a foundation to get something out. If you don't have any data, you cannot get any insights.
That's what I was just saying. That's exactly the point, that you need to feed your chatbots with systematic knowledge to train them.
You also mentioned a book before. Do you remember the title of the book? And maybe we can put that then in the show notes.
Yeah, sure. Let me just have a look. It's from Tom Schneider. That's the author, and he's working at Trumpf as a CTO, I believe. And what's the name of the book? Let me just look for it. It's a German title, so it's called Umdenken as a Service. Die Zukunft des Maschinenbaus in Europa, which means something like, changing your mindset as a service the future of mechanical engineering in Europe, something like this.
Good translation. Let's look a little bit into the industry trends as overall immersive technology, specifically in the beginning of the year with the rollout of the Apple Vision Pro kind of got that boom, and everyone was talking about that. How do you see the whole topic of immersive technology, specifically in the manufacturing industry, and what are some common trends you see, and maybe what OCULAVIS is already working on?
Yeah. So we also got a pair of Apple Vision Pro glasses because we just are curious on those kind of new technologies. And like I said, back in the days, we started with these kind of wearable technologies. But since then, I mean, it's just somewhere here in the office. So we do not develop any specific application for it. Because like I said, what we observed over the years that most of our customers maybe tried out these glasses, but in the second step, they realized that this is not the final answer to their challenges. And it's just a piece of hardware that also needs to be maintained when you operate such a hardware, which is just like a smartphone. It needs updates, it needs maintenance, it needs to be charged, and it needs access rights.
That's
and stuff
the
like
main
that.
issue, actually,
Exactly.
in the field.
And,
if you have a common device, then it just sits around, nobody takes care of it. As the phone, it's yours, and therefore you take care of it, and you make sure it's charged and working and all of that.
Yeah, that's why I believe that Apple Vision Pro and other VR or mixed reality headsets have a bright future, maybe in simulation and training, where you're completely in a virtual environment, which might interfere with your real environment. But for shop floor operations and service, and you're really working on a machine, I don't believe that these mixed reality applications will have a future, to be honest. Also, like Microsoft announced that they will not continue, or there are rumors that they are not continuing their mixed reality headset, which is definitely the most impressive headset you could get in the past. And it's cool when you wear it, and it's impressive how it's working. But when it comes to everyday use, you have these challenges, like we already said, and it doesn't deliver that high added value compared to devices you already have in your pocket. That's our experience, and I know from lots of companies that they might have a marketing showcase with it, but in the end, if you look into their real factories, you will not really see this. That's my point of view.
And I kind of see it the same way, specifically on all field service applications where you're out in the field. I think the main challenge or the main problem which needs to be solved is that you have to give that person in the field the information they need at the location they are, best on the device they carry already, so they have all the information they need to do their job right.
Exactly.
And maybe even be able to feedback to a system status of the equipment, results, and all of that. And when the smartphone or a tablet can all do that from a hardware point of view, that's the way to go. How do you see the connectivity, like IoT, bringing specific machine status values into an immersive field? Do you see there any future, or is that also not too complicated, too complex, and therefore not really possible? What are your thoughts on that?
IoT in general, of course, is a big and very relevant topic, but bringing it into the field of the operator's view by using a pair of smart glasses, this is also not so relevant. And I think it's a nice marketing story. Imagining, okay, you're walking around in your factory, and you look at a machine and you see directly what's going on with that machine in real time. Of course, that's a nice idea, but in the end, okay, you would need to wear a pair of glasses every day for 8 hours. This might change in the future if those smart glasses really have the form factor of the glass that I'm actually wearing right now. Then this becomes a different story, when it really is a personal device that you wear 16 hours a day, also in your private life. But nowadays, if you really need a specific hardware, which is quite heavy and so on, and this is just a nice idea, but nothing for now. But in general, of course, IoT and predictive maintenance are big topics, something we do not focus on our product itself, but connecting to those kind of systems is very relevant when you're talking about predictive maintenance, for example, when those algorithms predict something and say, okay, next week your oil in the machine needs to be changed, for example, then of course it comes to in enabling or empowering operators to actually do that. And this, of course, can be then connected to our system to to step-by-step guide someone in changing the oil of the machine, for example, which has been predicted. And that this, from the machine manufacturer's perspective, so unlocks digital business models again, like offering this as a service to your end customers. Okay, we offer this predictive service, and when something is being predicted, we even empower your maybe unskilled workforce to execute this complex tasks with digital support. And
do this with a workflow, with a easy to be created step-by-step instruction, as I understand, which then has the added value, if you do that in a system, that you also see when it was done and who did it from a documentation standpoint, and specifically with everything under preventive or predictive. People in the field say, oh, I changed that filter of that machine, but in reality, it may not be done. And so the OCULAVIS tool could be actually used to document that this task was actually done at that point of time with a timestamp.
Yeah.
And if a person logged in, you know who it was, which gives you that
you have the full
additional added value in the whole transparency of what was done, when and where.
Exactly, and there's not only step-by-step instruction, but you can also gather feedback from the operator who's executing these tasks, like asking them, okay, please take a photo of the result, for example, and then you could apply some computer vision algorithms in theory that could check if that has been done correctly, or an expert could take a look if it has been done correctly. But like you already said, also metadata like the timestamp and who has been executing this task and how long did he take. This is also being locked in the background, for example, and by this you can really have the full transparency. Not only for this kind of task, but also think about training, for example. If someone needs to be trained in operating a certain machine, then you can definitely have a full transparency of who already has done this training and who still needs to have the training and stuff like that.
You do not need to reinvent the wheel every time, as it has been done once and it's documented. Plus, you'll still be able to add actual pictures, which then help you as well. As we always say, a picture says more than 1,000 words specifically in describing something highly technical. Let's talk a little bit about adoption challenges. When new customers implement OCULAVIS as a tool, what challenges do they face? What's your experience on that? And then on the other hand, how does OCULAVIS help to overcome these challenges?
Of course, with the implementation of every software tool, there are some challenges like change management or the transformation, and this is a lot related to the leaders who are implementing it in their organization. And the question is if it comes from a bottom-up initiative, if there are some field service technicians that say, it's a great tool, let's do this, let's implement it. And if they have a boss or the service department leader is not really convinced, this can be a challenge definitely. So the leaders should be definitely driving or supporting these kind of initiatives. That's the key success factor, definitely. But also not to think, okay, I buy a piece of software and tomorrow I will be my processes will be completely changed. I mean, that's a transformation that takes time because people are working in these processes. These processes nowadays happen somehow or in a different way because the software enables or allows to change that process and wants to change the process and wants to be covering that new process and make it better and faster and more efficient. And that's why change is a big topic, and people sometimes don't like change, and you need to convince them, first of all, showing them, okay, what are the effects by using this new solution in terms of maybe their work-life balance, maybe in terms of the business efficiency, but also in terms of digital business models for the whole company, and also having internal marketing campaigns, maybe, okay, this is what we're doing now, why are we doing this? I mean, there are definitely different methods in how to support this change, but overcoming this change barrier that might be happening in the beginning is definitely one of the biggest challenges we see. But we also see a lot of successful customers who have already done this or overcome this successfully. Not a too hard of a challenge, but it strongly depends on the organization. There are definitely organizations that also have not successfully implemented this tool or other kinds of tools because their organization just did not adopt to it, and they stayed with the old thinking, the old processes, and then a tool like this can also die.
That is always the case specifically in digital transformation, when people don't want to change and go ahead in their journey of becoming better, more efficient, adding more value to their clients and stuff like that.
What is also one specific thing, I mean, I already mentioned this white label option. So to turn our solution into the solution of the machine manufacturer, for example, and then people might identify in a different way with the tool, because then it has the name of their company if they are already identifying with the company. And this might make things easier when it's their service application and it has their name and so on. Yeah.
Very good. Looking into the future, I just recently got an email that you guys have a new version out with some new and additional features. What's new at OCULAVIS?
There are always new things. I mean, we have about 4 major releases every year. So we have a big development team, and they're going on to develop new features, but also improving old features. I mean, software is never finished. So there are new patches, new features. And it's more like an evolution. There are also co-innovation projects with larger customers where we're driving certain topics. For example, our ticketing system is becoming more and more mature and is adopting exactly to the needs of machine manufacturers. And this is a big development field, for example, but also in our innovation lab, which we just recently launched, we're also developing our first AI features to be able to integrate chatbots, for example, in the future. And like we already discussed, feed these kind of chatbot systems with solution knowledge that is being generated in our tools.
That sounds all pretty exciting, and I'm excited to try it out and test it myself.
Sure.
Very good. What do you give young people as a career advice which want to go into manufacturing, immersive technology, kind of combine that all? What is the good career way to get into that?
Cool.
And how do you recruit, therefore, your people?
That's a hard question. I mean, I don't give career advices. I mean, everyone needs to know what they're doing, but to just follow your passion. That is one big thing. That's also part of our vision, that we want to not only enable service or maintenance work and make that work better, but we really want to unlock that passion inside of people for doing their work with machines and with service and maintenance. And we want to do that with our solution, which should feel like a totally intuitive, perfect software that you really enjoy working with. And this can be part of your everyday life. And this is our mission to create this kind of passion inside of young technicians and people, to make it fun and passion to work with the tools and the machines in the end. Though that's a general advice to think about what's your passion and follow that passion, I would say. And the second question, how do we find young talents and hire people? I mean, here in our hometown in Aachen, we have a big technical university, which is quite a privilege, to be honest.
Which I believe is one of the biggest in Germany and Europe, or?
In Germany, definitely. In Europe, I don't know, but it's big.
Definitely in the top ranking.
Yes, it's quite prestigious as well, and it's of course generating young people that are just finishing their master theses and so on. And we also collaborate a lot with the research organizations around us and do master theses together, for example, or research projects. And this is also a good way to get in contact with talented young people.
Very good. Martin, thank you for sharing all these insights about OCULAVIS and how OCULAVIS makes field service and maintenance better. I think we all learned a lot, and thanks for being in the DigitalituM.
Yeah, thank you very much for the invitation. It was a lot of fun to discuss with you.
Thanks for staying until the end for this DigitalituM podcast episode. If you enjoyed it, we appreciate a like on your podcast platform. Check out the additional info in the show notes below. Hope you listen again to our next episode. Bye now.